Hey, good morning, guys. I just came home from taking my kids to school, which, by the way, was kind of crazy because my son wasn't feeling well. My youngest son wasn't feeling well yesterday, so I let him stay home. He was complaining with just not feeling well and stomach ache and all this stuff. But then by the time we got home, within 15-20 minutes he was like acting normal, so I was like, oh, okay, so you just didn't want to go to school. But today I dropped him off, and I noticed that almost half his class, the bell rang and almost half his class was missing. So I was like, oh, maybe he was onto something. Maybe he really wasn't he was really sick yesterday. But I had a thought when I was driving home, and I just wanted to get on camera and share it because I wanted to hear your guys' thoughts. So throughout this journey, I've learned that with symptoms, if you're dealing with chronic illness, chronic symptoms, and you're healing with through a mind-body approach, usually the symptoms are metaphors. Oh, and so join me as I'm in my kitchen making my messy kitchen. Don't judge. Making some tea because I drink English breakfast tea every morning. It fills my soul, fills my cup. Haha, joke there. But what was I saying? Oh, so there's this concept that symptoms are they're metaphoric. And so one of the symptoms that I have been doing and dealing with that has been really troublesome, especially in the beginning, is issues with my legs. So mobility issues, strength issues, not being able to stand, walk, they feel weak and heavy, numb, tingly, like all that stuff with both legs, bilateral. So we know if it's bilateral, it's most likely mind body. It's an emotional thing or whatever. So it's a fight or flight response. So I was thinking about it, and I think I heard this from one of the coaches in CFS recovery. I can't remember. I think it was them though. But they mentioned that usually whatever symptom is plaguing you or is like really bothersome to you, let me open my tea bag. So whatever symptom is super bothersome for you, it's usually correlated to something that you put a lot of care, like it's a body part that you associate a lot of your identity with, you know? So I've been thinking about that, and I was thinking about my legs because that's been, if you can't walk, if you can't run, if you can't stand, it's like super debilitating. If you happen to be watching this, you know how it's like, especially in the beginning. But I made a lot of progress and it's fine. So much better now. Like, look, I'm walking around. So, but I was thinking, that made me think back, like the metaphor, like I put so much of my identity in my legs. And so I was like thinking about that, and I realized like I did. Like if I were to be honest, I was always that person that prided myself on being able to stand for long periods of time and be able to walk with no issues. Like, I don't know if you guys are familiar. Have you heard of Coco Head? In Hawaii, it's a pretty intense hike. It's basically an intense times 20 Stairmaster, and you're just like hiking up this steep, like super, super steep staircase up a mountain. And I remember priding myself so much because my husband and I, we did that hike 2 days in a row, which is kind of unheard of. And I'm not athletic. I don't consider myself athletic at all. So I really prided myself in that. I used to work retail, so I would be on my feet all day, every day. And I remember being so proud to be able to tell people, hey, I can, no issue. I can be on my feet for 12 hours. No problem. So much pride there. And even when I was working at my 9-to-5 job, my corporate job, we had stand-up desks. And I remember like I would have so much pride in being able to like be the worker who could not only excel and do well in her job, but I could do it while standing at my stand-up desk for at least 4 hours a day. And I realized the belief under that was I had this fervent belief to be able to prove myself to other people because I didn't feel good enough inside. So I had to really push myself and show people, hey, you know, in order to feel internally worthy and special and worth people's time and worth living, I guess, if you want to get really deep about it, then I had to constantly prove like, oh yeah, walking is easy for me. I can walk miles and miles and miles, and I can stand, you know what I mean? But it wasn't coming from a gloating place. It was coming from a, like, oh yeah, I can do this. And thinking that it was coming from this loving place, but it wasn't. Now that I've learned, it was coming from this scarcity place where I was like, I needed to do these things in order. I needed to prove that I could stand, prove that I could work a long shift and not complain, prove that I could, you know, do these laborious things like hiking up Cocoa Head. But it wasn't coming from now I know, it wasn't coming from a place of pure desire or love for myself and to challenge myself, which I thought it was. It was coming from a place of, I need to prove myself because I really feel like I suck inside and I'm not good enough. So I need to keep doing things to prove that I'm good enough. It's such a subtle thing because externally you can have two people, I'm realizing this, you can have two people who exhibit the same behaviors. Like you can have two people doing the same things that I did. We can hike really laborious hikes, no issues. We can stand for hours at a time. We can, you know, and back then when I was performing, because I was singing at church a lot, so yeah, I would be the one that like, oh, you know, be on stage singing and dancing and stuff for hours and hours and hours and be totally fine, even though everyone was starting to get tired. I'd be like, no, let's go, let's go. And so you can have people that look exactly the same externally. They're behaving the same. They seem to have the same energy, but yet one is coming at it with an abundance mindset where they're like, I just love myself so much and I'm just having so much fun and playing. And I thought that was me, but chronic illness has shown me that was not where it was coming from for me. For me, the driving force behind all of how I was showing up in life and work and relationships and just everything was coming from a place of, I'm not good enough, so I need to prove myself. I don't believe that I'm worthy or capable or good enough, so I need to work really, really, really hard to prove myself. And it was coming from a place of fear and shame. So it's so subtle, but it's totally like two totally different paths. It's a huge disparity. So just wanted to share that if that resonates with you, because I'm finding this whole journey, this whole recovery thing, like your body, if you really believe that your body and your brain are for you and they're just communicating things, they're communicating internal things that you would have not otherwise known had this hardship not happened to you. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's just kind of, you know, if you look at your symptoms and what's freaking out, like what is the metaphor there? What did you value about whatever body part is afflicted or freaking out? What about it can you deduce is connected to what you valued and where you put your worth and things like that? You know what I mean? Yeah, so I just wanted to share that. Let me know what you think. My tea is about to be done steeping. I'm so excited. And I put honey and honey and caramel creamer in it, and it's so delicious. So I'm hoping you guys have a delicious morning. It's gonna be hot again today, 102 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm gonna, I look a little crazy. I'm gonna go hop in the shower because I'm probably gonna have to shower again later. And I will see you guys soon. Take care.